Hey everybody, this is my blog for Monday, June the 24th, 2013. And today is going to be our little story segment for the YouTube channel. And the story takes place in a small town with a population of 500 people. This town sounds like no other town that you normally hear of. Nothing out of the normal usually goes on there. We have a lady named Kirsten and a guy by the name of Stan. They both come from two middle-class families. Basically, our farming industry and livestock industries. And they come from very well families. They're very well financially connected with most of the people, the population 500 in the town. Kirsten, the girl, was attracted to Stan. And they're both 16 and 17 years of age. They met each other in high school and still are together in this context of the story. It's not a love or romance novel. This is just basically to give you a perusal of what their life snapshot is of up to this point, as far as a little bio of what's going on in the scheme of things. They go to a school called Mosley High School. Mosley High School, like I said, is based in the town of Iowa. Not a lot of people are there. Like I said, it's only a population of 500 people. And of course, this is all made up. So, if you go and research the facts, you probably won't find this because it's all made up. Well, chapter 1, it's very short. It's going to be a short story. It's not going to be a novel. But this story centers around a school, like high school, with many kids in there, with all the goings on, everybody doing tests, everybody being competitive, and doing whatever they could do so that they could achieve their role, and doing their part academically, scholastically, and just phonetically and athletically. Kirsten and Stan were both on the track team at school, and they both did well in their classes of rank. One was in the 10th and 11th grade. Well, any day, they went to school like any other day. They all got on the cheese wagon known as the school bus, because that's what everybody called it back then in Iowa. They didn't like to ride the school bus because everybody was driving cars when they were 17 years of age. But of course Stan, he didn't have money enough, or didn't have the resources to get a car at that time. So he had to ride the school bus, or what they would call the cheese wagon. And of course, so he rode it to school. And all of a sudden, like any other day, like I said, they were all there. There was a severe thunderstorm watch for that day. Like any other storm, they all just went through their classes and did their thing as usual. Went to their 8 subjects and came home. Well, unlike this day, there were ominous looking clouds outside. The thunder, the winds were blowing up, and the trees were swaying back and forth. Lots of thunder and lightning. It looked like a flash fest of lightning all around the school outside as the winds began to blow. And of course, things began to bang, and trees and bushes started to move against the school. And all of a sudden, the people, as they looked out the window in their classroom in biology, they saw what looked to be like a funnel coming out of the clouds. Now, this is about 100 feet away, but it was big enough to where they could still see it as the high schoolers looked on in horror. As the wind and dirt, things were picked up like if they were nothing. Looked like things were just flying like feathers, like things were just displaced and moved around as nothing ever before. And as the trees and as the tornado came, it knocked over things. It threw livestock around and cattle and cars like they were just nothing but like little timber sticks, really light and hollow and weightless kind of creatures, when yet these things weighed over thousands of tons, in some cases like cars and tractors and so forth. Remember, they're in farmland. And of course, it's just picking these things up with no effort. So they began to get very scared as the tornado began to move anxiously even closer to the school. And of course, the winds were really howling at them. And as it got closer and closer, the winds began to pick up, and the dirt and breeze and things started to move around outside. Buses were kind of swaying a little bit and rocking because of the force of the wind and the air, and it started shaking. And of course, there was lightning, and they were told by the teachers on the speaker, "Please move to the hallway. Please move to the hallway," because there were no windows. So all the kids were instructed to line up single file and to move to the hallway of the school because it was interior and there were no windows or any outside, things in the hallway. So that's where they had the kids sit in the dark. The lights began to flicker, and then the lights as they went outside went all the way out. So it was pretty black in the hallway because there were no windows. So the girls were uneasy. And of course, Kirsten and Dan, they were very scared too. And the winds began to pick up. The tornado got really, really close. The building began to shake. Matter of fact, they could feel the wind and the pressure, feel their ears pop. They could hear a sound that sounded like a freight train that was coming right for them. But then right when it got worse, it all stopped just as quickly and instantly as it began. So a sigh of relief began to take over the crowd of all the high schoolers there at Mosby High School in Utah. I was getting ready to say Colorado. Utah. And of course, they were filled with great joy and relief. As they looked outside, however, they were stressed because some cars were flipped over and trees were knocked over, and they saw that power lines were down, and some the power lines were arcing on the roadways. So they had to stay there in school there a little longer that day until power crews and other agencies could move those trees out of the road. So they were there a lot longer. They didn't get home till 8 o'clock at night. Parents were worried about their kids, but their kids were safe. All because of the action of a dedicated teacher named Mrs. Wilson. Now, of course, in biology, she was really famous, and she really loved children. And she really loved working with children, so she was really concerned about the kids. So she always made her diligence to go and communicate with all the other teachers. Let them know, there's a storm coming. She was always into the weather and a really dedicated science teacher of both the body as well as environmental sciences. She got her degree from Yale. And, of course, she was very smart and very scholastically achieved in her career. But as we see her as a teacher, that day she was a hero for Mosby High School. The teachers were frightened. They were shocking the students as they all went clamoring outside to see if the cars were still there, the ones that drove cars. Buses were flipped over some. Some of the cars were moved around like I stated earlier. Some of the cars were broken, but by the grace of God, I do believe, as evident, God was there and protected, spared the school, spared the children. The fun thing that we can draw from the story is that at least the children were saved. And at least we know that God does protect those who pray and do earnestly seek Him. As we see, they were spared that day from that horrible tornado. A lot of people's things, like cars and things, were ruined. But those things can be replaced. But really the moral of the story is we cannot replace people. So, we might lose things in storms. We might lose things in fires. We might lose things in all kinds of devastation, like Kirsten and Dan did in this tornado in Mosby High School. They lost some things. Of course, like I said, Stan had to ride the bus. Kirsten drove a car. Her car was messed up, but yet they still had each other. And yet everyone was still alive. Yet shocked, horrified, they still made it through this storm. I hope you enjoyed the story. We'll tell some more stories as summer goes on. So stay tuned for more short stories on my YouTube channel at DeSilvis Media. And please tell people and subscribe to us so we can tell you more stories, even ghost stories when things go bump in the night and things move and things make weird noises, aliens, and all kinds of things we'll be talking about on Story Time. So, of course, that's this summer. If you like good stories and good adventures, stay here. You'll hear more tales of imaginary worlds and imaginary and different civilizations. Keep it right here. These are not in the library. These are original works written by me. And I'll be telling you those and narrating them to you as I read and also tell you by memory of the stories that are written. And of course, we'll all go on a journey, shall we? Let's embark on a journey. See you tomorrow. This is my blog entry for today, June the 24th, 2013. And please support us, help us, and donate. It's very important. 7110 New Hunter Road, apartment 423, Mechanicsville, Virginia, 23111. Also, if you'd like to make a donation by calling in over the phone, like I said, we will not use it for anything else. You can support us in that way by making a phone call to 804-789-9373. That's 804-7389. 7393. Wait a minute, I messed up. 804-789-9373. So see us next week, next time, tomorrow, and join us for story time.